Welcome to Order Militarist Radio TV. What we do here is for free and love of Jesus Christ and for the Holy Mother Church. Defend our Holy Mother, the Church. Uh, when you make a donation, we don't get paid. It doesn't go to us. It goes to help us get new equipment. And so this way we can give you unbiased, unfiltered, hard-hitting truths and facts that no one else will give you. And we welcome Brother Alexis today to talk about some Christian politics.
Okay, thank you, AJ, for having me on for the weekly program on Christian politics, Catholic politics. And I'll just let everyone know that today is probably the last day you can send a donation in to support Order Militaris Radio TV, because Stripe sent me a nice little lovely love letter this morning saying they're going to suspend our account and therefore our corporation will no longer be able to sell anything online anywhere around the world unless we move the company outside of the United States. It seems this is now, after 4 years, the last persecution that we're going to have to move the company out of the US, because if we can't sell anything online, we can't operate as a company. And this is like unbelievable Christian persecution. But Christian persecution began. We are an organization organized to help people who suffer Christian persecution, but we were no sooner that we were organized that we began to be persecuted. And the emails I've gotten from Stripe are absolutely outrageous, full of bigotry. It's unbelievable what the hatred of the Catholic religion. So this is your last day you can make a donation. So if you want to support Order Militaris Radio TV, do it this way. We don't know how we're going to accept funds from now on, or if we'll ever be able to again.
Yeah. But the Teespring store is still active, so go get merch. It all goes back into Order Militaris and funnels down into the radio apostolate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we get a 10% or 16% commission on stuff sold at the Teespring store. Okay, so where would you like to begin, AJ?
Let's start with Stripe.
I'll start. Okay, before we find out what's behind Stripe, let me tell everyone, I'll read the letter I got. It's unbelievable, because that will set the whole tone, because AJ found some interesting things. I said to myself, why would Stripe even send us letters like this? I mean, it's like, what did we do? You know, this Stripe account is not held by AJ. It's not held by me. It's held by Order Militaris Inc., a Montana corporation, lawfully organized in the state of Montana, whose only business activity is to sell flags, bumper stickers, and stamps, and the occasional electronic book. It doesn't have an income of more than $2,000 or $3,000 a year. Okay, and the company doesn't have assets of more than not even $20,000. So it's not like we're a threat to anyone. Our Order Militaris Inc. of Montana doesn't own a gun. We don't have an employee. We don't own tangible property. We have some merchandise. That's the only property that belongs to our corporate. We have some intellectual property. But that's it. So why would you send a letter like this to our corporation? It was sent 10 hours ago. That is at what time is it in your part of the world, AJ?
10:28 a.m.
Okay, so it was sent at 28 minutes after midnight Chicago time. So that means it was sent, since Stripe is headquartered in San Francisco, it was sent at 28 minutes past 10 p.m. last night. And so Monday at 10:28 p.m., how is anyone working at Stripe?
Mm-hmm.
It works at that hour, right?
Yeah.
So this letter is suspicious, okay? But this is what the letter says. your Stripe account at ordomilitaris.us. This is just a reminder that we will no longer be able to accept payments through Stripe beginning October 22nd. Once again, we are sorry that we can't work with your business. If you feel you have received this message in error, please contact us right away and by replying to this email. I think I got, okay, that was at 7 in the morning. 18 hours ago, okay, the original, I correct myself, the original email was 18 hours ago, so that was at, that was at 4:28 in the afternoon, your time, AJ, so that would have been 6:28, right after, at the end of the business day in San Francisco. No, it would have been at 2:28, at lunchtime, okay. This is the letter. Hi, Alexis. I mean, the account is held by our company. It's not held by Alexis. I don't know who I guess they're referring to myself. I'm writing to let you know that we are no longer able to accept payments for Ordo Militaris after October 21st. But the email that came immediately 8 hours later said after October 22nd. So they corrected themselves because according to the user agreement, I think they're supposed to give you 48 hours notice. So they violated their user agreement. After a recent review of your website, didn't say by whom, and account information, we found that your business presents a higher level of risk than we're able to work with. Specifically, your business is in violation of our Stripe Services Agreement, Section A7B, restricted businesses and activities. Additionally, we request that you remove any references to our company, blah, 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 blah. So I went to Section A7B, and I'm surprised they claim we're in violation of it because we couldn't have an account with them if we were in violation of it. And we haven't changed our business since we signed up with them in June after PayPal, without any reason, canceled. PayPal didn't even send us a letter. They just shut the account down. So 7B, this is what Stripe's user agreement says. You may not use the services to engage and to enable any person, including you, to benefit from any activities Stripe has identified as a restricted business or activity. Collectively, restricted businesses. Restricted businesses include the use of services in or for the benefit of a country, organization, entity, or person embargoed or blocked by any government, including those on sanction lists. So basically, they're accusing us of doing business with people in North Korea and Iran. But we don't. We don't even have any members in North Korea, Iran. We can't do business in Russia because our website blocks all user agents from Russia and China. So, I mean, that's a totally crazy accusation. So I sent him an email this morning. I said, well, how, we don't do business in North Korea, Iran. What are you talking about? And then they sent me an email just some moments ago. And this is the email I received just 70 minutes ago. Not 70 minutes ago, no, excuse me. Yeah, 70 minutes ago. Okay, this is what they said. Hello, Alexis. Now it's not hi anymore, it's hello. Thank you for your patience on this matter. I hope this message finds you well. Aren't they so pleasant? I notice you would like to obtain further information on your current account status. Please allow me to share my findings with you. He didn't say our findings, he said my findings. So I guess this letter is from someone who signs his name, Max, who said he signs his name, stay safe, not sincerely, not sincerely, but Max. Max who, they don't say. I feel like I'm in the Soviet Union when I'm accused of something without even know what am I accused of, or who I'm accused of, who tried or investigated the case. So he says, while we really appreciate you providing us with all required info and clarification on your business model, I'm afraid that at the moment we're not able to support Ordo Militaris US after October 21st, 2202. So whoever wrote this email thinks that we're in year 202. Since it does seem that your business is still in violation of the Stripe Services Agreement. Now, according to US contract law, you can't terminate the contract with someone because it seems to you they violate it. It has to be because they actually do, right? Evidently, they're not too aware of that over at Stripe. That it seems that your business is still in violation of the Stripe Service Agreement. Really? But how is it? We don't do business in Iran or North Korea. Specifically, we're unable to process payments for any business or organization that A, engages in, encourages, promotes, or celebrates unlawful violence or physical harm to persons or property, or B, engages in, encourages, promotes, or celebrates unlawful violence toward any group based on race, religion, disability, gender, sex, or orientation, national origin, or any other immutable characteristic. You can see further information in this matter by clicking on the following link. But our organization is actually dedicated against that violence. That's what we're dedicated against. So it was like, how could you accuse us of such a thing? Then they list a whole bunch of businesses, and then they highlight in black again the accusation. Then they repeat the requirements. We ask you to remove your thing, and you switch to a new provider in 2 days. I don't know what Max knows, but you can't switch to your provider in 2 days. It takes like a week of documentation and things like that. So I wrote Max back because Max seems to be a bit unclear about, well, U.S. contract law. So I said, dear Max, if your corporation is accusing our corporation of being a business organization that engages in, encourages, promotes, or celebrates unlawful violence or physical harm to persons or property, or engages in, encourages, promotes, or celebrates unlawful violence towards any group based on race, religion, disability, gender, sexual orientation, national origin, and any other immutable characteristic, I would appreciate you specifying when and where you are alleging we did this. Also, the year is 2020. It's not 202, because your answer is important to us and also to our lawyers. Because as far as U.S. law is concerned, you cannot breach your user agreement with us on the basis of false or erroneous allegations. Sincerely, Brother Alexis Vignola, President Order Militaris. So we'll see. The ball's now in the court. But you hear this accusation from this guy that we promote, and that we engage, first of all, we engage in unlawful violence. I mean, we don't even own, a corporation doesn't even own a gun. So we engage, we encourage unlawful violence. Never we have done ever such a thing. We actually oppose to unlawful violence. Do we promote or celebrate unlawful violence? No, our whole corporation is dedicated to opposing terrorism. So who would accuse us of this other than a terrorist? What do you think about this, AJ?
Well, I was like, when you're hearing that letter for the email for the first time, I was going through my head like, look, I was just thinking, okay, what are they going after? Was it the book, the Ponto flag, a couple of my movies?
But the thing is, AJ, when we signed up with Stripe in June, we were selling all those things. We haven't changed the sale of anything on our site. We're selling the same products as before. But the Lepanto flag doesn't encourage, engage in, glorify, or promote unlawful violence or physical harm.
Mm.
That was Christians defending themselves from invasion. That's lawful. Okay.
Yeah.
And the flag doesn't celebrate the killing of anyone. It celebrates the unity of Catholics in defending themselves. So this accusation seems extremely racist and extremely bigoted. It's implying that since you're Catholic, unlawful means defending yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, lawful means you have to accept being killed, beheaded, murdered, persecuted. And if you resist, that's unlawful. And who would say that other than a terrorist? So I don't know what Skype's involved in, but this letter is extremely damning to their corporate public reputation, that they'd send such a thing like that to a corporation like ours, which is anti-terrorist and promoting security and the observance of law. It's absolutely mind-blowing.
Unless it was the Armenian page.
I mean, I don't see how it's the Armenian page. It's called, we're raising funds for Armenian humanitarian relief. And it says quite explicitly, for assisting displaced civilians. So how is that unlawful? Is it unlawful to help someone who's a displaced civilian for Stripe? So I could see how Stripe might think that Nagorno-Karabakh believes Azerbaijan. But when I say displaced civilians, we're obviously talking about they're displaced outside of the war zone, okay? And that means they're not in Nagorno-Karabakh, they're in Armenia. And we don't say the citizens of Artsakh in our fundraiser. We say Armenians. We're talking about Armenia. So how is it unlawful to feed a starving Armenian?
Probably to them.
Is it unlawful to house an Armenian that has no house for the winter?
Yeah.
Is it unlawful to give an Armenian that doesn't have clothing for the winter, warm clothing or medicine?
I'm guessing to those San Francisco liberals. Yeah.
I mean, can you get any more pro-genocide than such a letter? And it's not that we've raised 100,000 for the Armenians to wage war. We've raised $215 for humanitarian relief, which is never going to make really an impact. It will. I mean, we'll send it to the Armenian Catholicos there, their equivalent of their pope, and he can use it for charity for the poor outside his cathedral. That's about the only impact we'll have in that. So that doesn't even make sense. We're not like the Chase Manhattan Bank that is raised $130 million for reconstruction projects in Artsakh. Okay, so that could be said to be unlawful, at least by the Azerbaijanis might say that fund's unlawful. But that's Chase Manhattan run by the Rockefellers, so I guess Stripe isn't going to go after the big guys. But $215, you really think that's a target? So the amount of hate implied in these two letters sent to me is absolutely shocking. It's absolutely shocking, and I hope the people in Stripe smell the coffee and wake up, because you treat our corporation like this, you're going to be hit with a massive civil rights lawsuit for religious discrimination and bigotry. This is actual racism. This is racism. Because you're saying, collecting, we got a donation, and I thank the person who'd sent it, of 100 Canadian dollars to the Armenian Relief Fund. And it seems like within hours or within moments, they slapped us down. So, it's not like, they might not be pretty ignorant about our business model. They might think that we're not a charity, and though we shouldn't be raising money, but we don't take money as a charity. We take it as a capital irrigation, and we pay it out as a capital loss, which a company can certainly do. So we don't, people who donate to our funds don't get tax benefits, and we tell them that it's not tax deductible. So we're perfectly in line with the U.S. law, U.S. tax law, international law. The only possible motive is that your company, I don't think Stripe's run by Turks, because I can't imagine anyone who would write such a letter just because we collected $75 worth of humanitarian funds for Armenians. I mean, I could see if we had collected 500 million and they're like, they're concerned about how much money is passing through their system into a thing, even though they charge a good percent and be making good money. But so all this leads me to say, AJ, who's behind Stripe? And maybe we'll do some investigation to find out why on earth they're acting in such a inexplicable, at least extremely racist and bigoted manner. They're doing to us what they're accusing us of doing to others. That's what they're doing. They're targeting us because we are Christians and because we are. Did we raise money for Armenians, or was it because we raised money for Lebanese? Is that evil?
Well, we know that Stripe was founded by the Irish entrepreneur brothers John and Patrick Collison in 2010. In 2012, the company moved from Palo Alto to San Francisco. Now, those who gave money in 2011 to get it off the ground received a $2 million investment from venture capitalist Peter Thiel. Now, this man,
This man, you found out, is like the godfather of electronic services,
mhm,
social media. He has more connections to social media than Bill Gates has connections to vaccines.
yeah. So Thiel is a West German, well, not West German citizen anymore, but just German citizen from Frankfurt, born on October 11, 1967, to Suzanne and Klaus Friedrich Thiel. Now, it doesn't give his mother's maiden name. We searched all over the place, English and German, nothing.
Which is very strange because people are worth $2 billion. They usually tell you about their mothers. Especially, it's very strange because Wikipedia is big on women's rights and women's equality. Why don't they have an article about his mother? This is a famous man, a wealthy man. At least give her the human dignity of telling us her maiden name. I mean, it's not like she was African that came over in the boat, okay? So the fact that they're hiding the mother's name is very unusual on Wikipedia. They must always will tell you the mother's maiden name, almost always. This is the first case I've seen that they don't tell you.
Yeah. They moved to the United States when Peter was 1 and lived in Cleveland, Ohio, where his father worked as a chemical engineer. And and his dad worked for various printing companies, creating an internet upbringing for Thiel and his younger brother, Patrick Michael Thiel. Thiel's mother became a U.S. citizen, but his father did not. Before settling in Foster City, California in 1977, the Thiels lived in South Africa and Southwest Africa, modern-day Namibia. Peter changed elementary school 7 times. He attended a strict establishment in Swakopmund that required students to wear uniforms and utilize corporal punishment, such as striking students' hands with a ruler, which nuns did. This experience instilled a distaste for uniformity and regimentation, later reflected in his support for individualism and libertarianism. He excelled in mathematics, scored first in a California-wide mathematics competition while attending Bowditch Middle School in Foster City. At San Mateo High School, he read Ayn Rand, admired the optimism and anti-communism of then President Ronald Reagan, and was valedictorian of his graduating class in 1985. Okay, he goes from mathematics to studying philosophy at Stanford University. Okay.
Then he goes on to study law. Doesn't he get a JD, a Juris Doctorate in law?
Yeah. Then Thiel enrolled in Stanford Law School and earned his Doctor of Jurisprudence degree in 92. While at Stanford, Thiel met Rene Girard, whose mimic theory influenced him. After graduating Stanford Law School, Thiel clerked for Judge James Larry Edmondson of the United States Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit. Thiel then worked as securities lawyer for Sullivan and Cromwell in New York. He left the law firm after 7 months and 3 days, citing a lack of transcendental value in his work. He then took a job as derivative trader in currency options at Credit Suisse.
Wait a sec. He said that law lacked a transcendental value, and then he becomes a security trader.
Mm-hmm.
There's something wrong with that statement, because law has more to do with the transcendentals than trading in securities.
Yeah.
It's the exact opposite motivation.
And so he left New York for Zurich, Switzerland, to take the job at Credit Suisse. He joined them in 93 while operating as a speechwriter for former United States Secretary of Education William Bennett before returning to California in '96 to seek a more meaningful occupation.
Well, he should have done that after he left the law firm. There's something just not right with the explanation of this. So it's going to continue.
Upon returning to the Bay Area, Thiel noticed that the development of internet and personal computer had launched the dot-com boom. With financial support from friends and family, he raised $1 million towards the establishment of Thiel Capital Management and embarked on his venture capital career. Early on,
Wait. So, from his friends, he raised $1 million.
Yeah.
He had some pretty good friends. I can say that.
Mhm. How did a miner help his son raise $1 million?
That's exactly. His father was a chemist. That'd be no way. And how did, as a trader, unless he was getting people to buy and sell stocks that were just absolutely worthless so he could get as much commission as possible, and he was really involved in swindling people. But then it says not from himself, but from friends.
Yep.
Who are these friends? Since he just moved to California, where are these? He's talking about friends in Switzerland? Are these friends back in New York? Or how would the friends remember him so much and trust him in that much?
Oh no.
It doesn't make any sense. Because usually when it says someone raised money from their friends and family, they've lived in the same town their whole life. Their family has a status there. He's not had been in 7 different elementary schools.
Mm-hmm. So early on, he experienced a setback after investing $100,000 in his friend Luke Nosek's unsuccessful web-based calendar project. However, his luck changed when Nosek's friend Max Lechvin introduced him to cryptography-related company idea, which later became their first venture called Confinity in 1998.
So Levkin is obviously Jewish. He's a Ukrainian Jew. And what's his full name is?
Maximilian Rafilovich Levchkin.
Okay. So and he invested in this Jewish guy's idea.
Mm-hmm. So with Confinity, they developed a software to bridge the gap in making online payments, which then in 1999, Confinity launched PayPal.
And PayPal dumped us without reason in June.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this guy has, and this guy is going to go on to found, or at least finance Stripe. So he has fingers on both payment systems.
And he also made a $500,000 angel investment in Facebook. That means he gave Mark Zuckerberg and his let's see here, and Sean Parker $500,000 in angel investment to start Facebook.
And so he has $1 million to invest, and he put $100,000 in a company, lost. He put some other money in the Levkin's company, and now he takes the rest of the $500,000, presumably, or maybe made more money in the time, and he gives it all to Zuckerberg. Mm-hmm. How does he even know Zuckerberg? Zuckerberg didn't go to Stanford. Zuckerberg isn't from New York City. How would he even know Zuckerberg?
Well, okay, so Phil came to make this investment because Napster's co-founder, Napster is another music sharing place, Sean Parker, who at the time had assumed the title president of Facebook, was seeking investors. Parker approached Reid Hoffman, the CEO who worked based social network LinkedIn, who Thiel gave money to help get that off the ground.
Okay, so Thiel was known as to have deep pockets, and they went to him.
Mm-hmm. So,
but yeah, go ahead.
Everything we use, folks, is financed by Peter Thiel.
But the strange thing is he invests in Facebook, which is now worth, I think, $900 billion or over $1 trillion, and yet he's only worth $2 billion.
Mm-hmm.
So he got all these things off the ground, but he wasn't smart enough to stay in them to make money.
Yeah. So in 2005, Thiel created Founders Fund, a San Francisco-based venture capital fund. Another partners in the fund include Sean Parker, Ken Howery, and Luke Nozak. And now, Thiel, in addition to Facebook, Thiel made early-stage investments in numerous startups, personally or through Founders Fund, including Airbnb, Slide.com, LinkedIn, Friendster, Rapleaf, Genie.com, Yammer, Yelp, Spotify, PowerSet, Practice Fusion, MetaMed, Vatar, SpaceX, Palantir Technologies, Import, Watson, Asiana, BigThink, CapLink, Quora, Nanotronics Imaging, Ripple, TransferWise, Stripe, Block1, and Alt School.
This guy's figures in anything. And I think you told me before that he's invested in more than 1,000 companies in this sector. 1,000, which means he's invested nearly all of them. Must have people coming into his office every day and he's just lobbing money out. Kind of strange kind of a business model. Okay.
And he's also into artificial intelligence. And
Palantir is all about artificial intelligence and surveillance.
He's also he also did a Thiel Foundation, is a supporter of the Committee to Protect Journalists, which promotes the right of journalists to report the news freely without fear of reprisal. Beginning in 2008, Thiel has donated over $1 million to the Committee to Protect Journalists. He is also a supporter of the Human Rights Foundation, which organizes the Oslo Freedom Forum. And Thiel made a New Zealand $1 million donation to appeal fund for the casualties of the Christchurch earthquake.
I think that, so why would the company invested in Stripe be so viciously bigoted toward our humanitarian organization if Thiel himself is such a philanthropist? It doesn't make sense. Although I do admit that Stripe is different from Thiel. Okay, he's just an investor.
Yeah. Now, Thiel is an ideological libertarian, though more recently he has espoused support for national conservatism and criticized libertarian attitudes towards free trade in big tech. In 2019, Thiel called Google seemingly treacherous and urged a government investigation, citing Google's work with China and asking whether DeepMind or Google's senior management have been infiltrated by foreign intelligence agencies. And Thiel is a member of the steering committee of the Bilderberger Group.
And isn't he also on the campaign of Donald Trump? With a certain New York Jewish banker that we recently mentioned in one of our programs on Ordo Militaris Radio TV. So are we being persecuted for being journalists? Because the Stripe account that used by our corporation is also the one that takes the donations for Ordo Militaris Radio TV and makes the payouts as a way of promoting Christian liberty there. But it just doesn't make sense. Now, Thiel has one part of his life we haven't mentioned. He got married in Austria, of all places, even though he was born in Germany and grew up in California and lived in South Africa, so he's never been to Austria. But he ends up getting married in Austria to
Matt Danzigson in October 2017.
Okay. I will not explain how the Catholic use of the word for the action he did there is not what he means by it, lest I be accused
Mhm.
by Stripe of hate.
Mhm.
Even though we're the victim here, we're not the victimizer. So okay, but I don't know why what he has to, what personally has to do with Austria, but we mentioned Vienna in our show yesterday about the
Yeah.
political groups associated with drone sales to Armenia.
Yeah.
So in Vienna. So
Yep.
you found out any other information, interesting information about Stripe? So it was founded by two Irishmen, so they should be pro-Catholic. I don't see why they would be upset with our corporation.
Yeah. Then Sequoia Capital. It's another venture capital firm, also headquartered in Menlo Park, California. Now, Sequoia was founded by Don Valentine in 1972. Valentine gave control of the company to Doug Leone and Michael Moritz in 1999. Sequoia expanded its operations to Israel. So it could be about yesterday's program.
Yeah, we were talking about Israel and companies in Tel Aviv, where Sequoia is.
Yep.
And as we mentioned in a past program, or at least I've mentioned publicly, the last time we talked about the fact that Israel doesn't allow Lebanese to go to Jerusalem and discriminates against Christians going on pilgrimage to Jerusalem, we got a vicious attack on. Well, we didn't get viciously attacked, but Stripe was viciously attacked by some fraudster out of Tel Aviv who had the credentials to our Stripe account and used them to try to make fake payments to Stripe in our name. And Stripe charged us around $300 for the effort they put up over a space of a week to resist all the attacks, even though they're supposed to only charge us the fee if the fraudulent payments come through our website, and they weren't coming through our website because we didn't have any record of those transactions on our website. They had them only on their servers, so the attack was going to their servers. And I pointed that out to them. I said, look, you can't charge us for a fee if this payment didn't come through our website and someone's spoofing our credentials. Then how could they get our credentials unless you have a security leak inside your corporation? So since you say Sequoia is a big investor or owner of Stripe stock.
Yep.
And they're also in Tel Aviv.
Yep.
Where the attack began.
Not only in Stripe, but also Apple, Google, Oracle, Data, GitHub, PayPal, LinkedIn, Stripe, Bird, YouTube, Instagram, Yahoo, Pixar, Kalama, WhatsApp.
So it could have been some overzealous Zionist in Tel Aviv working for Sequoia who broke in through a back door into Stripe, stole our credentials to take a vendetta on our company for mentioning that Israel discriminates against Christians. I told Stripe we shouldn't pay that money, and I demanded that we not pay it. They made us pay it anyhow and took the money from our bank account. Even though I don't remember reading anywhere that they can take money from our bank account. They're supposed to pay us, not rob us. And so this is very bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see this story with Stripe.
Hold on, folks. Just one of our sensors coming through. They'll be back eventually. That's what you get for doing unbiased, hard-hitting news, folks. Oh, we get sensors coming through saying hello. Hello. Please let Brother Alexis back, please. Come on, guys. Let Brother Alexis back. All we're doing is speaking the truth. Okay. Okay, we're waiting for him. Hey, y'all, can you put Brother Lexus back up here, please? Come on. No messing around. Get the truth out. As the Lord said, the truth shall let you free. Okay. Okay, I think we are by ourselves. Oh. I am thinking we're done here, folks. Let me check. See if we can get him back on here. All right, here we go. Here we go. Maybe. Here we come. Here he comes.
So did you have to start the thing all over again, AJ, or are we continuing the same program?
Same program.
So I was saying that this persecution is not new because as soon as we founded our organization, we were persecuted, okay? And we just lost the connection for quite a long time because the Wi-Fi router that I use a cell phone as a Wi-Fi router, has lost all cell phone signal. Now I have another cell phone behind me that's on the same cell phone company's system, and it has a signal. But this smaller one lost its entire signal. And you know, it lost its entire signal right when Stripe sent me an email.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, you know, maybe those things are coincidences if you believe in coincidences, but I just got a reply to the letter where I said, can you tell us when we were promoting racism? So they wrote me. So it's now in time for the program. This is like live action here. And now it just says, Alexis. It doesn't say hi anymore, hello. Thank you for your quick response. I totally understand this are unexpected news. That's exactly what the letter says. I totally understand this are unexpected news. I do my best to shed some light on your concerns. So I'm obviously not speaking with a native English speaker here. Although we appreciate your business and for choosing us as your payment processor, based on our list of restricted business lists, we won't be able to continue working with you. We understand this isn't the most convenient way, and I wish you'd come better news. However, there's no leeway here at the moment. Please be aware Stripe is required by law to complete what's called a KYC, Know Your Customer survey, every business that signs up with us, regardless of how many transactions they've processed. This involves completing in-depth reviews of every single business, including what you're selling, how you intend to sell it, your own description of your products and services, your website, and other details regarding your location, country where you do business. We use all this information to determine how risky a business is. We also have strict policies that dictate what businesses we're allowed to support. Once said that, Also, this is not correct English. I'm truly sorry we cannot do better for you, but these regulations are firm and I'm afraid we don't have flexibility with them. We are required to follow strict guidelines on the types of businesses we can and can't support. Please keep in mind we are not authorized or obligated to provide you with any further details regarding our review process in order to protect ourselves. Well, why would you have to protect yourselves? Did you do something wrong? You must take a look at our legal page where stands you are not able to access or use. That doesn't even make sense. Where stands you are not able to access or use any services unless you are able to abide by all of the terms and conditions in this agreement. Well, how can we abide with your terms and conditions if you don't tell us what the terms are? What term did we violate? See how ridiculous this is? If you require specific information on the review process, apply to your account in order to apply your legal right to protect yourself or require clarification on any of the info provided, you are welcome to take whatever steps you deem necessary to protect you and your business. If you would like to do so, please ask for your legal counsel to get in touch with us. Oh, they've upped it up to lawyers now. We will not discuss any legal matters with anyone but your legal counsel in order to protect your business and identity. Your legal counsel can get in touch directly with our legal team by clicking on the following link. This form is intended only for submission of third-party legal process. Stripe does not accept service of any direct adversarial matters, including but not limited to notice of sue, that's incorrect English, demand letters, or notice of arbitration findings. I'm truly sorry that we cannot do better for you right now, Alexis. I wish the very best thing moving forward, and I hope you're able to find another payment process. If you have any other questions, let me know, and I'll get back as soon as possible. I'll let you comment on that, AJ.
Sounds like he's from India. Because every time you get one of these responses, either email or phone call, it's like, what'd you just say? I was like, huh? I can't understand. Can you talk to these folks? Like, it definitely sounds like someone from not inside America or an English speaking country is Max.
So a foreigner is preventing a U.S. corporation from operating its business in the United States.
Mm-hmm. That's what I can tell from the way that email sounded.
I'd say so. But notice now there's been three reasons. The first reason, we do business in North Korea and Iran. Then the second reason was we promote hate. The third reason is we've done a review and your business model doesn't fit our list of businesses. There's three different reasons now. Mm-hmm. I'd say they just sunk themselves legally because they didn't stick to the same reason.
We just had a plane buzz the house.
How close?
That was pretty close.
All these strange things happening today. Well, we're just spelling out the beans for everyone to know why you need a Christian Party for America. Because here's a Christian company being persecuted in the United States by a foreigner who has giving no reason whatsoever. It just seems that he's an anti-Catholic bigot, and he's decided to defend himself because fear of losing his job in India for having caused a legal problem that's now probably cost hundreds of millions of dollars a lawsuit for Stripe, because we're going to look for a lawyer and we're going to sue them because mm-hmm. This is religious prejudice. This is prejudice. Mm-hmm. It's breach of contract without grounds for breach. Mm-hmm. You're obliged to keep your contract, not falsely accuse us of doing things and then stop the contract. And this is absolutely outrageous that an American company should be persecuted by a foreigner mm-hmm. and no longer be able to do business in the United States. Yeah. And that means the damages our company is suffering is more than 10 million, because that means you can't even sell stock and do any of the business projects we have in mind.
Yep. Yeah. Anything else?
So people think that there's no Christian persecution going on in the world, but just raise your hand and say, I'm opposed to Christian persecution. You'll get some. You'll get some. That's how bad it is today. And I bet lawyers won't be running to knock on our door to help us. Mm-mm. Nope. I wonder if I should file a complaint with the State Department.
Yeah. Yeah, she just tweeted.
So as I said, today is the last day you can buy anything from Order Militaris. It's now or never. Same thing with any kind of donations, stock purchases, or anything like that.
Yeah.
This is like your last chance. So not stock purchases, but donations, pledges. All those who are pledging to Order Militaris as members of the association, your pledges will be terminated, and so we won't have your support anymore.
Yeah.
You could send checks to our offices. That's about all you can do if you have an account that you can write a check on.
Yeah.
And you'll have to do it monthly because checks aren't recurring.
Mm. And same to our one monthly pledger for the radio. And those who want to continue,
You get there's two monthly pledgers for the radio, one at 25 and one at 20, or I should say there were two monthly pledgers.
So if you're listening to this, I guess mark the checks for the radio station and send it to the mailing address for the Order Militaris Catholicus.
And if you're a lawyer out there, we need some legal help.
Yep.
Because this is completely outrageous. We haven't done anything.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we were going to touch on some other stuff, but this is pretty important just to do a single show.
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty important. Trying to shut our entire corporation down for no reason. I'm trying to think, we haven't done anything on our website, and I can't imagine it's receiving $75 donation to help displaced Armenians in wartime.
Mm-hmm.
Must be something more about this. I just don't know what it is. It just seems totally disproportionate.
Yeah.
It's not like Order Militaris Inc., the Montana Corporation, has anything to do with the Catholic Party of America. It doesn't, okay? AJ and I are members of the party, but the corporation's not, and we don't have a PAC, and the corporation doesn't fund the party. And the corporation has nothing to do with AJ's Twitter account or our religious association or its Twitter account.
Nope.
So it's a rather neutral thing, you know.
Yeah, so go to the Ordo Militaris, ordo-militaris.us, go to the contact page, get the mailing address, and keep supporting us that way until we can figure something out.
Yeah, and I thank you for your support and all those who go to these greater lengths to send us support. As St. Alphonsus says, when God permits wicked men to close one door of opportunity, God will open another. And this means that he's going to ask us to do something better, I suppose. Hopefully we can remain in the United States. Otherwise, we'll have to move to some foreign country where a payment gateway won't persecute us. Or a bank will give us a payment. This is not the only time we have been refused by banks.
Yeah.
We have been refused by all kinds of payment gateways. We had one payment gateway in Texas refuse us because they say, you might sell a gun someday. And well, I said, well, it's not our business plan to sell guns. So how can you accuse us of might one day sell a gun? And I found that payment gateway, though it was headquartered in Texas, ran out of a bank in Canada. So they were trying to get American customers, I don't know for whom, but with a crazy fears like that, people are just bigots. Let's face it, they're anti-Christian bigots, and they think they can get away with unbridled bigotry, okay? And they're vicious, they're petty, and they can't even write English.
Yep. Yeah. So once again, go to ordo-militaris.us. Go to the contact page there. You'll see the mailing address. That's where you send the checks.
Yes, and thank you for your support. And We have secretarial services, so they charge us $1 for every letter you send to us. So be generous.
Yep. So, this is One Militaris Radio TV signing off. Deus Volt.
Deus Volt.